Yeah. Because I'm Christian, that mean I got it together. Is that what that means?
What's going on, people?
Is that
We
how you
are back
interpret what
for
you've heard
another
or seen?
episode of Just How I See It. Now, before I get started, little housekeeping. First, go to our YouTube channel, Just How I See It. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Also, go to our IG page in Just How _ I See It, as well as my TikTok page, Studio Head Chris, where you'll find the clips, you know, to lead you back to our YouTube page. But just kind of keep up with what's going on. But so now got that out the way, let's get into the topic for tonight that may ruffle a couple of feathers, probably a lot of feathers. But hey, let's find out. So what I want to talk about tonight is during the pandemic, or probably before the pandemic, there seemed to be this rise in what has become cancel culture. And a lot of, whether you did something or said something about the wrong ethnic group or social group or political party, or whether you were a store or a person, like, the public was like, cancel. No, they don't deserve to do this. They don't get it. Understand it. And honestly, I don't have a problem with it, not because I actually don't. It's just that it's not how I view it. And I understand that, people are going to be people and people are going to feel how they feel. Well, my issue comes into play is that when what I call the church, or us believers as Christians, is when we kind of adopted the cancel culture ourselves. And the reason why I got a problem with that is that is not how God has called us to handle situations where we find people at fault or at blame or wrong, especially those of us that are also Christians. One of the examples of that is that during or when the pandemic was coming out, or when it was getting ready to end, there was a football player named Damar Hamlin, and he had an episode on the field, heart stopped, all that, talked about a lot. And so eventually he started to recover, and, he started to come out into the public. One of the crazy things I heard was that the man was a clone, which was wild. But that's not the one that really got me. So he came out in public and he had like on this, like, I want to say it was a leather jacket that had like a bunch of different symbols on it, and some stuff that was said on it. And one of these content creators or content creator like went in on my man, saying he don't believe in God. He said he believed in God. Like, how could he wear this? Like, he should be ashamed of himself. Like, he doesn't deserve. Like, he went in on my man. And my problem with that is this: I'm not saying what he had on was wrong, was right. What I am saying is that how this particular content creator dealt with it was absolutely wrong. Number one, the man said he believed in Christ. That's not how the word says, Jesus said, how we should handle that. And I'm going to get to that. Number two, we don't know, or he didn't know, where Damar was in his faith as far as the maturity of it. He probably saw nothing wrong with that. And he may not be as serious, or hadn't gotten to the point where his faith was totally entrenched in his lifestyle. And now I'm not saying that that's okay, but what I am saying is that we didn't know where he was in his walk with Christ. And so because we didn't know, we could only assume because he wore a jacket, then our first line of action should have been to pray for my man. And my thing to the guy was like, you ain't let nobody to pray for him yet. You ain't even prayed for him yet. And his response to me was that I was some weak, soft Christian, and that's what's wrong with Christianity. And that's what's wrong, why people don't believe in Christianity, because you got weak, soft Christians like me. I said, bro, I'll take that. I said, if doing that will help win a soul. With winning souls or trying to be compassionate to people that may be lost, may not understand, haven't matured, I'll take being soft because guess what? I know that God wants as many people in heaven as he possibly can get. Now, the right way, but as many as he can get. Why? Because one of the things that Jesus says is that how do you know that they are my disciples? Because they have love for one another. And what does love do? Bears all things. It suffers long. You know, it takes no joy in the pain of the person that we love. So my man went in and I was like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to argue with you in public. I'm not going to debate you because that only hurts how people look as us as believers that we can't even agree on things like this. I said, so brother, go in peace. I'm go in peace. And I said, I'm gonna pray for you. Pray for me. God bless you. Kind of went on. So that's just kind of an example of one of the situations that I've seen on, social media, whether it be YouTube, IG, or TikTok, that I just absolutely do not agree with. I don't agree with us as believers getting on here, calling people out by name individually about their error, their mistake, or their sin. Because the only thing that helps is your pockets as a content creator. It does not help the gospel. It does not promote God in a good light. It doesn't bring people to Christ. And I'm pretty sure the reason why you feel like you're doing it is to make people aware of the false prophets and the errors and the travesties that are going on out here in the world. I get all that. Problem I have with it is that we are not handling it the way that God would have us to handle it. Well, how do you know how God would have you to handle it? Well, let's take a look at what Jesus said in Matthew. And it is Matthew chapter 18, going all the way down to verse 15. And I'm going to read from the Amplified version. And it says, if your brother sins, go and show him his fault in private. If he listens and pays attention to you, you have won back your brother. So our first thing we need to do as content creators, as believers in Christ, is to go to our brothers privately. That's what we're to do, to go to him privately. Now, if he does not listen, then you take 2 or 3 to be witnesses that you told him to go to him privately. That's what we're supposed to do. And then if he doesn't listen in, you take it before the church. And if he don't listen to the church, don't listen to y'all, then hey, hand him over, leave him alone. Basically what Jesus said. It's reiterated in Galatians as well on how we're supposed to do it. In Galatians chapter 6, verse 1, it said, brother, if anyone is caught in any sin, you who are spiritual, that is you who are responsive to the guidance of the Spirit. Guess what? Those of you who are about God and will do it God's way, this is how you respond. Are to restore such a person in a spirit of gentleness, not calling them out, not shaming them, not bashing them, but gentleness, not with a sense of superiority or self-righteousness, keeping a watchful eye on yourself so that you are not tempted as well. Now, I'm going to tell you how I really believe. I believe a lot of y'all do this thinking that you making God proud. I think a lot of y'all that are doing this are doing this honestly to make yourself look here, higher, and other people look lower. And I definitely know y'all doing it to make that coin. Y'all profiting off another man or woman's error. You're profiting off of shaming them about their sin. You're profiting off of calling them out. And that's just not how God get down. That ain't the order in which he wants us to do things. He wants us to do to them as we would want ourselves to be done. And I'm pretty sure that most of us, if not all of us, don't want our dirty laundry aired out, not only aired out on the streets, but talked about from platform to platform to platform. And so my hope is that us as content creators, those of you that are Christian content creators, that we handle people's errors much differently than the world does. That we respond the way Christ would want us to respond. You know, Christ knew that Peter was going to deny him, yet he still treated him with love. He knew that Judas was going to betray him, and he still dealt with him in love. He knew that Thomas would doubt, which is the opposite of faith. And without faith, it is impossible for God to be pleased with us. He knew that Thomas would doubt, but yet he dealt with him in love, even to the point of allowing Thomas to relieve his doubt by touching the holes, the wounds in his hand. Not calling him out for doubting, not calling him out for necessarily denying him 3 times. He didn't even call Judas by name when he said, one of y'all gonna betray me. The one who dips his bread with mine. He didn't call him out by name, and he could have. And so I know we're called to our best to handle things the way that Christ would. And I know that's a difficult thing to do in a lot of situations. But what I do know is that profiting off of someone's error, sin, that ain't God. That's you. God ain't led you to do that. That's you. Now, you may take what I just said as absolutely right. And you may take what I just said as absolutely wrong. But to be honest with you, I don't care how you take it. But I will say this. Whatever you do, you make sure you take it to God. On that note, next time, because that's just how I see it. Talk to y'all later.
I'm Christian, don't mean I got it together. Is that what that means? Is that how you interpret what you've heard and you've seen?